And we are live. So welcome everyone to today's episode of the Sports Generals. With me today are the usual guys that you've come to know and love. We've got myself, Unger to the Max, but my real name is Josh, but I use my YouTube persona. We got to my right, we got Mr. Brian Fraley. And down below, we got Mr. Manalytics as usual, Jason Vaughn.
Yo.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Nothing. Ready to have a good show.
Yep.
Let's roll.
So, today's a little bit of a somber day, huh? Because, geez. It's been 2 years, and it still feels like a bad dream that I'm going to wake up from.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. This does mark the anniversary of the passing of the great Mamba. So rest in peace, man. It was a tough day. I remember when it happened. You know, it was like, damn, what did they just say on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those moments, man. And it's just like you hope that it wasn't true. But TMZ usually is accurate, and unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments in sports that, like, you'll kind of always remember where you were at when you found out the news, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that just speaks a lot to Kobe and his legacy and how impactful of a player he was, you know, the way that all deaths impact people negatively. It's never a good thing when somebody passes away, but his death in particular really brought the sports world to a halt. You know, it was like I've never really seen anything like it across the sports world. You know, like you kind of see it localized in certain areas, but with Kobe, it was like basketball, baseball. It didn't matter wherever you were at that day, whatever you were playing. The feeling in the gym or on the field was, man, like I cannot believe it.
Yeah,
yeah.
He was like he just had that bigger than life figure and. People looked up to him so much that, like, he became almost superhuman, if you will.
He changed the landscape. You know, one of probably the most comparable athlete that you could compare to Michael Jordan. He had similar skill set. He had that mentality where I don't care who I'm going against. I'm going to try to embarrass you if I can. I want the last shot. Give me the ball. I'm not scared. And, you know, he was one of the all-time greats. Actually, in my top 10 NBA athletes of all time.
Yeah, I agree with you there. He's top 3 for me.
Yeah. What I loved so much about him was his competitive nature. Like, if he was going against LeBron, you knew it was going to be, like, tick for tack, like, scoring, like, who's going to outdo who? When he was going against, like, the Detroit Pistons, it was, okay, I got to grind this out, and it's going to be bully ball. When he was going against the Boston Celtics, he brought, like, that Celtics-Lakers rivalry mentality, if you know what I mean. When he was going against, like, Dwayne Wade, it was going to be kind of similar to his battles with LeBron, like, who's going to outdo who type thing. That's what I loved most is, like, depending on who the opponent was, he brought a different mentality.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that Mamba mentality, you know, it's something that he was known for, and it's like a whole attitude, a whole vibe, you know, that, like, young kids and anybody that's coming up in a sport that they, like, try to strive to. It's like, who do you want to be like? And no matter what sport you're playing, you know, if you're playing baseball, it's, you know, you want to have that Mamba mentality. You want to be the first person to show up at the field. You want to be the last person to leave. You want to be a student of the game. You know, like, these are all things that Kobe did. And that's one thing that a lot of people didn't appreciate about Kobe when he was around was how hard of a worker he really was.
I'll take a step further.
Man, go ahead.
Playing cards. Hey, I'm a spades player.
You
gotta have the Mamba mentality playing spades. No, that phrase is transcended, and you can apply that phrase. I don't know why Webster hasn't even added it to the dictionary yet. Probably they will soon, but you have to have that mentality in order to be that guy or that gal to be the winner. So you got to have a Mamba mentality all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And even like pop culture and things like, like when anybody shoots a basket now, even if they're in the office and they shoot a piece of paper into a basket, what do they say? Kobe, like it's just like everything about the guy was just so transcendent and special. And it's just such an unfortunate thing that we have to cover this. But Josh, I'm really glad that you set aside some time for us to recognize Kobe and his greatness and kind of honor his legacy.
Just recently, the NFL divisionals, and we all had some different picks. It's time to recap that, gentlemen, and go from there. So,
let's
Bengals
start.
And the Titans.
Yeah, good call, Jay. Let's start with Bengals and Titans. We'll just go in order that they happen, like we've kind of been doing.
I was wrong.
I was wrong.
I was right again.
You're the only one that got this right. So why don't you go ahead and start us off with a little recap of what happened?
I told you, but none of you guys wanted to listen.
Yeah,
I told you that the Bengals are legit, but you guys didn't believe me.
They're definitely legit.
But here's my biggest concern. That offensive line for the Bengals was like a
terrible.
I told you guys,
It was like a freaking turnstile. Like, hey, do you want to come sack Joe Burrow? Hey, do you want to come sack Joe Burrow?
That was terrible. Yeah.
You get a sack. It was like Oprah Winfrey's show. Like, you get a sack, and you get a sack, and you get a sack, and you get a sack.
It's kind of funny because in a way, Jay and I were right because we both said, our big concern for the Bengals was the offensive line. We both were talking about their defense. They had 3 players that had over 8 sacks. They're the only team in the NFL to do that. And we were really concerned about them getting to Joey B.
It's crazy.
And that's what happened. But unfortunately, what also happened was that Tannehill just could not he turned the ball over too many times. You can't afford to turn the ball over in a game that big. And I think that was kind of the story for the Titans was just not protecting the ball. And, the Bengals had their way with them. So
it was a testament to the greatness of Joe Burrow that we're starting to witness, which is despite being sacked 9 times, he got back up. He threw the ball. He was confident. There was not one time where I seen him get up with the frustrated look, looking at his offensive line. Like, what the hell is going on, guys? He just got up, business as usual. You see him on the sideline, chilling, cool, relaxed, cool, calm, and collective. And Joe Burrow, man, I keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep reiterating this, man. That's Joe Montana. He's the coolest, smoothest quarterback that I've seen in recent memory, and he led his team to a victory, man. And you must give kudos to him because he has put Bengals on the map, and he's put the NFL on notice, specifically the AFC North. So Joe Burrow is that guy.
Shout out to rookie Evan McPherson too. We don't talk a lot about special teams and how important. He won that game. He had 4 field goals, 2 of them over 50 yards, including a game winner of 52 yards as a rookie. In terms of like young QB, young kicker, those guys are ice cold, man. Like they both showed up in the biggest way.
Yeah, like before Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all these guys got there, all Bengals fans and all the team knew was losing in the playoffs. Like Joe Burrow's wasn't there for that. Jamar Chase wasn't there for that. Most of these guys weren't here for that. So they don't know any better. But here's the other thing, and we'll get to Bills Chiefs in a little bit. And there are some people, maybe somebody here on this team, that are starting to look at the rivalry between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and starting to compare it to maybe it could be Brady Manning. Obviously it's not there yet, but there are people.
Nice try speaking for me and saying I'm starting to agree with you because not even close. But go on.
I don't know. I think he might have some merit to this.
Anyway,
Mahomes is the only one who sniffed the Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't even got there yet. I don't want to hear about it until both of them have won a Super Bowl.
But you didn't let me finish what I was going to say, though. What I was going to say is, if, let's say, to jump ahead to the AFC Championship quick, we'll get back to the other games. But if Joe Burrow goes into Kansas City and beats Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, Josh Allen is a great quarterback. I think he is the best quarterback of that 2018 draft class by a mile. But if Joe Burrow beats Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead and goes to the Super Bowl, oh, you better put Joe Burrow in that same sentence. Like,
he already beat him. He beat him at the end of the season.
Yeah,
he lit them up too. But I think it's a little premature, to have those type of talk. Let's give Joe a couple of more years. I think that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not trying to say it's going to become Brady Manning,
Mm.
but I think it has the potential to reach that level, possibly.
Sure,
You
I'll
got to
agree
focus
with
on
you there.
Boomer. You got to get Boomer a size some level first, and then graduate to it.
We got to keep moving through. We still got 3 more games we got to cover. We got to make our picks. So let's go on and move to the next game. It was San Fran over Green Bay. Garoppolo and the Niners got the win over Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I was wrong about this one too.
I think we all said Packers, so I think we were.
Not me. I actually said the 49ers. And you know what? Like I stated, this is a West Coast team that could play in any type of terrain. They demonstrated that despite Jimmy Garoppolo struggling. Seemed like he was giving the game away. The throws, he made so many terrible throws. And it just so happened that they were dropped by the opposing team. But they ran the ball. Deebo Samuels was phenomenal. They were not rattled. The defense was getting after it, like I indicated. Fred Warner was getting after it. Nick Bosa was getting. Yeah, I guess it made it. It put the focus on Aaron Rodgers and just the continued struggle that he has in the playoffs. Whereas, you do good in regular season, but what about you only got one ring to show forth out of a 17-year career? So if you're the GOAT, what's really going on?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, now he's 0-4 against San Francisco too. So, I mean, Green Bay definitely didn't play great. That's certainly didn't help. I wasn't blown away by obviously San Francisco's offense did not impress me whatsoever. They only scored 13 points. But that defense, I'm with you, Jay, man. That defense looks really, really good. And if they can still win a ball game with Jimmy Garoppolo only throwing 19 passes for 130 yards and a pick, if they can win under those circumstances, they got a good ball club. So I give you props on that one, Jason. You saw that, and that's kind of what you were trying to indicate was that, these guys are tough. They got an edge to them that we didn't really. Yeah. And they went into Green Bay and proved me wrong for sure. So yeah, it was a very interesting matchup. Very good game for that San Francisco defense. And then in spite of the offensive struggles, they still get the W. So yeah, that's a team that certainly is just really dangerous in the NFC right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I just can't believe that, Jimmy Garoppolo was struggling, man. I'm just being frank with you guys. I seen him just look uncomfortable. And you actually indicated this on the earlier show, Brian, where you said you just don't trust him. You don't trust him, and especially in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's accurate, man. He just looked like he was uncomfortable. I was wondering when they were going to make a switch potentially and bring in a rookie. Because you traded up to the third pick for a reason. And I thought we were going to see him, especially in the cold, because you rather run than throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see him. So, Jimmy G, you survived, but you are still on the clock.
Yes, he
is. I agree 100%. And then I want to point out real quick, this game was decided by a 45-yard field goal by Robbie Gould. So once again, and on top of that, Green Bay special teams was awful. They had the block kick, the block punt that was returned for a touchdown.
Special teams is big.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot emphasize enough how important special teams has been so far in these NFL playoffs. Another game that came down to a last-second field goal. So,
All of them
yeah, but
did.
unless you guys got anything more on that, I think we want to move up to Sunday's games because Sunday was a day of some football. I really want to talk more about those games. So, yeah, if you guys are ready, let's jump into that Rams versus Bucks games and talk a little bit about Tom Brady's near comeback and Matt Stafford. What do we say? Exercising some of his Detroit demons.
Yes. One quick thing about Packers 49ers, and then I'll circle back because I wanted to say this. Green Bay's, that wasn't the first time Green Bay's special teams let them down. They had that happen to them throughout the year. So I just wanted to touch on that. But anyway, circling back to Rams Buccaneers. First of all, I'm super excited that Tom Brady is out because even though I admitted and conceded that he is the GOAT last year, that doesn't mean I like him. It just doesn't. But as a fan anyway, I'm sure he's a good person. Let me specify, I don't like him as a fan, but I'm sure he's a good person. Cool. Anyway, we should have expected this. And it kind of felt right for Matt Stafford to win the game in the way he did. Because when you think about it, what was Stafford's reputation that he can't, while he was in Detroit, that he can't win the big one, that he comes up small in playoff games and whatnot. And for Brady and the Buccaneers to mount that comeback, tie it up, and then Stafford not be like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? He just looked down the gun barrel and said, fine, this is how my story is going to go. All right, cool.
He did good. I'm surprised that, it, like you said, he started to go very Detroitish in a few plays in that game. But I think the bigger issue was Cam Akers because Cam Akers had two crucial turnovers. Once they were up, I believe they were up 21-3. They could have went up 28-3, but he fumbled, was on goal line. And then later on in the game, when they could have absolutely put the game out of reach by obtaining the first down, he fumbles again, and he gives the Bucks light. So Cam Akers put the ball on the ground a couple of times. Sonny Michel, they were riding him towards the end of the season, but he didn't really get that many carries this game. But their Van Jefferson came into play. Everybody came into play, and it seemed like he was able to shake that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. It was awesome to see Stafford overcome what Josh was talking about. He had that reputation of coming up short in big moments. This is really the first time in his career that he's had a moment this big, and he's came up in it. So shout out to Matt Stafford for keeping his cool and under the circumstances. Like you said, Cam Akers got the ball 24 times and he fumbled it twice in very dire circumstances. They tried to lose this game, and Matt Stafford was really the one that kind of galvanized the unit at the end of this game and put them in position to kick that game-winning field goal. And again, here we are, game-winning field goal. After all that, all the scoring that went on in this game, it still came down to a Matt Gay 30-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So, special teams coming up big again.
Special teams most important.
Do you guys think that maybe that might have been Brady's last game in Tampa?
Man, it feels weird.
Either the fact that he could, retire or, demand some sort of trade or what have you. A lot of people were speculating he might not play another game in Tampa.
The wordplay he's been using, my other people care about. And I don't know the exact quote, but basically his safety. And he's talking about wifey for those that are not familiar with the story. And usually Tom Brady is like, yeah, we're gonna get him next year, or he's got that rah-rah, that Mamba mentality, right?
Yeah.
But after this game, it just seemed like he was like, I'm not even thinking about the next 5 minutes from now. I just want to. That's not Tom Brady. Don't really use that type of language, so it was a
You nailed
little
it, Jason.
off-putting. Yeah,
You nailed it, man. It was that post-game press conference that kind of caught me off guard, and I didn't even consider it until I heard the way he was talking. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting storyline to follow in the offseason. But we got to get to what many would say was, arguably the best playoff game of all time. I know it's certainly up there.
Oh, my God.
So why don't we roll right into this this Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen matchup that everybody was drooling over. Two of the top young quarterbacks in the NFL, and they both played absolutely lights out. Yeah, I'll let you guys take over from there.
So first of all, the NFL absolutely needs to change their overtime rules, because that rule is complete and total bullshit. It is bullshit.
Yeah, it sucks.
How can you do that? Like, it happened to Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago, where basically if you lose the coin toss, you lost the game. How can you do that? After the magic that we saw in the final 2 minutes of that game, where it was like, oh, Kansas City's going to win. No, Buffalo's going to win. No, Kansas City. No, Buffalo. And then it comes down to overtime. Buffalo loses the coin toss, and they never get a chance to touch the football. What? No. That is bullshit.
I'll tell you this. One could say, hey, you had 60 minutes to win this game. So when you need overtime, I kind of want to side with the fact that he didn't get a chance to get the ball, but y'all should have won the game, which is weird because he throws a touchdown with 13 seconds left, right? You would think he's going to win the game. I was jumping up and down because I bet on this game. I'm like, okay, 13 seconds left. And then, lo and behold, Mahomes go right down the field.
It's a bad
going to overtime. But you got 60 minutes. Each team got 60 minutes to win a game. And when you can't do that, that's really a team problem. Y'all should handle your business.
I'm going to take an interesting stance here. I'm going to agree with Josh, and I'm going to agree with Jason both.
Let's hear this one.
I agree. The overtime rule sucks. Both teams should have an opportunity to score. I think it's a bad rule. But what Jason said, you had 60 minutes. Not only did you have 60 minutes, you just scored the game-winning touchdown with 13 seconds left. You have an opportunity to squib the kickoff.
Yeah, why didn't you squib it?
And take a minimum of 3 to 5 seconds off the clock. Minimum.
Totally agree.
And then that gives Patrick Mahomes one shot. He's got one shot to get it into field goal range. That's it. That's what should have been done. If they would have done that, I'm telling you right now, if they would have done that, the Bills would have won this game, and we're not having this discussion. But Josh, you're also right. That was a great game. And for Josh Allen to be denied the opportunity to score in overtime after the game he had, it's just heartbreaking, and it shouldn't happen. So I'm with both of you. They should have won that game in 60 minutes, but overtime also sucks. So
I want to flip
both of you on that one. So let's real quick. We have to run down and make our picks for the conference championship, and then we're going to switch segments real quick. So Bengals versus Chiefs. Who you guys got? I know, Josh, you want Bengals in the Super Bowl. Are you sticking with it?
Yes, I am. Bengals.
What say you, Jason?
Damn it. Let's go, Joe. Go with Joe.
Let's go. Okay, I'm sticking with the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs coming out of the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'm going to stick with that. I backtracked on the Bills a couple shows ago, remember, and I switched them out, and I said, I don't know. They haven't been looking good. The Chiefs look good. I'm going to pick them. So I'm not going to turn on them now, but you guys both got me on the Joey B bandwagon big time. I'm going to take the Bengals here to cover the 7 points, but I think Kansas City wins a close one.
Oh, it's 7. Wow.
Yeah.
7 points, man.
Just a quick thing. I know we have to get to 49ers Rams, but just real quick. We did see Chiefs Bengals in the regular season. I know it was regular season. And yes, the game was in Cincinnati. But I want you to think about this. Most teams, when Kansas City gets up on teams like how they did against the Bengals, most teams fold and pack it in and say, okay, we're done. The Bengals did not do that. Joe Burrow was able to lead them on a couple drives towards the end of that first half to really get them back in that game, and they found themselves. I don't think they're intimidated by Kansas City. I think they feel like we can hang with these guys. We know we can. So, yeah, that's the main reason I'm taking the Bengals. They're not intimidated by the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't think they're intimidated by anybody at this point. I do agree with you on that, Josh. We got one more game to pick, and then we got to move on. So 49ers, Rams. I'll start this one off since I ended the last one. I'm going with Matt Stafford and the Rams. I really like what I saw from Stafford. I just don't see the 49ers offense keeping up with LA's offense. I think Stafford's going to have a big day. Cut's going to have a big day. I think OBJ is going to get involved in this game. Cam Akers isn't going to turn the ball over. You know, he's going to be safer with the ball. So I'm going to go with the Rams. What say you?
I am also going with the Rams. Part of my reason is because, no offense to the 49ers, but I think if they were to make the Super Bowl, it would be a bit of a boring game because they don't have the offensive firepower that Kansas City, Cincinnati, or the Rams do. So I don't think it would make for an entertaining game.
I think guys like me and Jason would really enjoy the defensive effort, but I agree with you, Josh. I think for the most part, the general public would be bored with the San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to America and you two guys, but hey, 49ers, Shanahan, 6-0 against McVay.
Oh.
There's some smoke to that. Every time these teams play, I've seen every last one of these games. 49ers are always the more physical ball club. They always run straight towards Donald. They run at their throats. Rams are real finesse when it comes to playing against the 49ers. Shanahan just simply owns McVay. And I'm starting to think this is getting into his head. When they played last time, and the Rams were up, okay? I seen McVay on the sideline talking to the entire team, which that was kind of weird to me. But he's trying to get the troops motivated, and you can see, like, in their mind, they've already checked out because they're like, damn, there's nothing we can do. This team they're tougher than us. You know, like, I just see the 49ers just dominating them, and I see a 3-time repeat, Cincinnati versus San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
I love it. I love it.
I got an X factor for this game.
Go for it.
I got the Rams tight end Tyler Higbee. I think.
Ooh, juicy. I like it.
He let me down in fantasy football. I really feel some way about him.
Yeah.
I won my fantasy football championship, so I'm good.
I won one. Best team ever. Shout out to the Avon Barksdale football team.
Shout out. Shout out.
One seed.
All right. Well, everybody's picks are in. So what we want to do, we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling. We had a really cool opportunity as a show. We got to talk a little bit with Max Caster from the AEW. We're going to show you that interview later. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of wrestling talk here just to kind of whet everybody's palate and give us a nice transition into the conversation with Max. So, Josh, you're probably the biggest wrestling fan in the room. So why don't you start the segment off for us? And just tell us, like, you know, why you love wrestling and what got you into it.
Yeah. First of all, I just put the link in the chat. So subscribe to TSG on YouTube. So definitely
like and subscribe. Like,
share, and subscribe. So definitely go and do that. But in terms of why I enjoy wrestling, I've always been a big combat sports fan. I just think it's really cool to see the storylines, how they develop, and who becomes the baby face, which is the good guy, and who becomes the heel, that's the bad guy.
Right.
And what the storyline or feud is about. And there's so many different types of matches. wrestling, I can't even name like all of them. There's just way too many. But it depends company to company. Like with AEW, it feels so real. Like, you know, when MJF and Darby Allin, for example, were feuding, they brought in real life stuff, like how Darby Allin's uncle was involved in a major car accident. Like MJF brought that type of thing up. And like they use real life stuff, and they like tonight at AEW Dynamite from the Wolstein Center, they're doing a lights out, no disqualification match between Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole. So they're probably going to use, like, in these types of matches, I've seen wrestlers get thumbtacks stuck into their back. I've seen, like, bats with barbed wire wrapped around them get twonked right into somebody's, like, side. I've seen matches where, like, fluorescent tube bulbs get smacked over each other's heads, or like a pizza cutter getting used on somebody's head. Like, okay,
wow,
it's a very physical match in AEW. It's a lot of high flying acrobatics too. Like there's some very skilled moves that take place in AEW. That seems like you don't see in every match in other promotions.
Correct.
It seems like every single fight that I've seen in AEW is like, man, these guys are so talented in the ring. And like Josh, like you were saying, like the feuds feel real, you know, like there's actually some juice to them. And I don't mean this in a bad way or in like a derogatory way, but like this is kind of like it's like a play for men. You know what I mean? It's like a performance for men that like is like it's
there are women too.
Yeah, and it's like it's the drama and the feuds and the storylines. It's like you know, you can draw comparisons to pop culture and other things that people follow. You know,
correct.
This is like a really exciting, like brutal action where you're seeing real blood, you're seeing real punches, you're seeing real hits. Like, yeah, it's impressive. I'm really kind of blown away by what I've seen from AEW and what they're doing.
What I've seen, one thing that caught me off guard or that shocked me with AEW was, I mean, like you guys said, the authenticness that goes with the show. But from Max Caster was the only person I've ever seen that would freestyle and talk about his opponent while he's on the ring to him. And it seemed like he wins the battle off the ring, or outside the ring, rather, and get into their head because he's saying some real personal, some tough stuff to them. But you be like, whoa.
Listen. The Acclaimed leave opponents all motionless. They ain't got a shot like Novak Djokovic. We got Carolina jumping, and Bear Country's got erectile dysfunction. It's just what I imagined. Y'all look way worse after your 10-year challenge. And this goes out to Darby and Sting. Y'all are too bitch-made to even walk in our ring.
And first off, we really want to thank you for being here, Max. We apologize for the technical issues. It's awesome to have you on, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I think that's your first lesson as broadcasting students is that everything will go wrong when you have plans. So, yeah, technical issues, that's lesson number 1 from Platinum Max.
I love it.
So, I'm a huge AEW fan. So, do you mind if I give you my version of your ring entrance?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead. I will not judge you.
Okay, here we go. This next interview is set for 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. Making his way to the ring, one half of the Acclaimed, Max Caster.
Wow. Yeah.
Welcome, Max. Great to have you on, man.
Yeah. Welcome to the Sports Generals.
Yeah, welcome on, man. It's so great to have you here. Yeah, you mentioned broadcasting. I know you got a little bit of a background in broadcast, so we'll start right there. Like you said, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and is there anything else from your broadcasting experience that you'd like to give us some tips on real quick before we jump into the wrestling?
Sure. I would say that the best advice I ever got was from my dad, and it wasn't necessarily about broadcasting. It's about life, which it was at a point where I graduated college and I had my broadcasting degree and I couldn't get a job. And my dad told me sometimes you have to make your own way into a field if you really like it. And I started to make a business plan to, start an internet radio station. And this is 10 years ago. So internet streaming wasn't very sophisticated. So it was like a lot of technical investigating and trying to figure stuff out. And just formulating that plan in my mind, it never came to fruition, but it kept me going and kept me focused on my goal. And then eventually I got a job. I worked at Sirius for about 7.5 years. And I loved working there. And then I gave it up to be a wrestler full time. But there's always a way. So if you think that there is no spot for you, I know people always say that the broadcasting field is very competitive and there's not a lot of jobs out there. You can always make your own job and make your own spot. Same thing for any field. Same thing for wrestling. If you have a niche that you can fill and you can figure it out, then you're good to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. Josh, I know Josh wants to ask you some wrestling questions. I'm going to turn it over to him and let him jump into that for us.
So, first of all, I love the tag team that you have with Anthony Bowens. How did you and him get to become a tag team?
So that's a great story because we knew each other for years. We were acquaintances. He's from New Jersey. I'm from New York. We would see each other at shows all the time. We share a trainer, Pat Buck. He trained both of us. But we were never really friends. And it was in the fall of 2020 that, independent of each other, we both got a call from AEW. We fly down to Jacksonville, which is where we were taping at the time. And we just bump into each other in the elevator and say, "Oh, what are you doing here?" "I don't know. What are you doing here?" "I'm trying to get a job." "Oh, I'm trying to get a job." So we kind of figured out throughout the day that, wow, they're going to ask us to be a tag team. And we had a couple other things on the table for both of us. We had some tough decisions to make, especially Anthony. Anthony had to risk his deal that was on the table from another company. And we both had to trust each other, and we wrestled the best friends that night. And we lost, but we had a good enough showing that we got contracts right on the spot as a tag team. So it was Tony Khan's idea. He saw two young, hungry guys, two polished wrestlers that were looking for a break. And he thought, hey, why not throw them together in a tag team and see what they can do? And so far, I think it's worked really well. We're the best tag team in AEW. We're ranked number 1 as of the last rankings. And everybody loves us. Everyone loves the Acclaimed. So everyone wants us to get a title shot. I see people more and more every day saying that we should be the champions. Well, I'm happy to earn it when the time comes, but right now we're sitting really good in the best tag team division in wrestling history, probably.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you about that AEW has the best tag team division. So you kind of led me on to another question about like how the fans are really behind you and all that. So would you guys say that you're baby faces?
I don't put a label on anything. It's at the point where I agree with one of Cody Rhodes' famous quotes, which is, it's an old trope in wrestling because fans are going to root for who they want to root for. You know, everybody has their favorites. It's like, you know, My Little Pony or something. Like everyone has their favorite My Little Pony. You know, everyone has their favorite wrestler. So I am someone's favorite wrestler. Cody Rhodes is someone's favorite wrestler. Kenny Omega is someone's favorite wrestler. So when we walk out, you hear the representation of that. It's not all boos. It's not all cheers. And it's not something that I have to think about. It's just be myself. That's another great piece of advice. Be yourself. Because the second you try and pretend to be something that you're not, you know, if I say, oh, I have to be a good guy, I have to make the fans cheer me, they're going to see right through that. They're going to say, well, you're not being authentic. Same thing if I try to make them hate me. But if I'm just myself, some people will hate me always. Some people will like me always. And some people are going to flip flop back and forth. And that's how I like it. That's how I operate in life. You know, you have to be honest with people. Not everybody is perfect. Not everybody is 100% evil. Everybody has their flaws. And, you know, even the worst people in the world do good things sometimes. So it's not a label I like to put on myself. I just like to say that I'm the best wrestler alive.
That's
Gotcha.
awesome. And we know that you really pride yourself in your wrestling. You're obviously like super, super talented in the ring. But one of my favorite things about you is, you know, your character with the hip hop and the way that you've infused that in, and not just hip hop too, but like also comedy and edginess and being uniquely you. That's what I really like about you personally. At what point did you decide that, you know, you knew you were a great wrestler, but you wanted to kind of add that element into things as well? Was there a time when you knew that that was the right moment for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is even before I was signed to AEW. So let's say 2019, this is right when I quit my job at Sirius. I was kind of aimless in wrestling, but I knew I had to kind of put my feet to the fire and destroy any safety net that I had. So I kind of sat back. I looked at the talents that I had. It's like, well, what can I do? I'm a wrestler and I'm a rapper. I make rap music for fun. That's my hobby. I've done songs in wrestling prior to being Platinum Max when I was a part of the group called the Shook Crew. And we would do rap songs. We would do diss songs on people that we were wrestling. And a lot of those were really, really popular. So I figured, okay, I need to double down on that and use my talents, because there's no other wrestler and frankly, no other professional athlete doing that. No professional athlete is a better rapper than me. There's rappers who are better rappers than me, 100%. There's no professional athletes who are better. Damian Lillard is the only one who's close. And I'm being genuine about that. And so
Not Shaq?
No, Shaq had a few good ones. He had Hey Kobe, how's my ass taste? And
That was my favorite personally. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's great. I had it on a few burned CDs back in the day. So long story short, I was in that position and I kind of doubled down on my talents. And I said, well, this is what I need to do. And I created a video series called Freestyle Fridays, where every Friday I would just be in my basement with my cell phone and I would make a beat, rap over the beat, film myself doing that and put it out. And then it caught on week after week. People realized that I could rap. And the rest is history.
Yeah. So this kind of ties into that. Is that where did you and Anthony come up with the name The Acclaimed for your tag team? Does that have something to do with the fact that you're a rapper, or is that something completely separate?
So this is another Tony Khan idea. He apparently had this idea for a tag team called The Acclaimed for a long time. I also heard that it was almost the name of the Inner Circle in AEW, where he pitched to Chris Jericho, hey, what if it was Chris Jericho and The Acclaimed, kind of like your band or whatever, since, you know, Chris is a rock star. But they didn't go for that. And Tony, I guess, just wanted a tag team called The Acclaimed. And from there, that was just up to us. He goes, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, you are The Acclaimed. And we go, oh, great. What's that? And so we sat back and we realized that it makes perfect sense. We are both highly acclaimed professional wrestlers in our area on the independents. Both me and Anthony had very similar paths, which a lot of people would tell us, well, you guys are incredible wrestlers, but you just need to be on TV. You don't fit in on the independents. And that's something that always frustrated us because, it sucks being told, hey, you don't belong here, even though you're the best. And actually, we proved everyone right. We got on TV and we became everyone's favorite tag team. So we're highly acclaimed wrestlers, and we're also highly acclaimed outside of wrestling. Me with my music. Anthony is a model and an actor. He's in a lot of commercials. So we have, and he's a YouTuber as well. Subscribe to Michael and Anthony. He would be very happy for me to say that.
Shout out.
But yeah, but we're highly acclaimed in multiple fields, and that's really what the Acclaimed is at its core. But now, it's, people want to hear what I say. People want to see Anthony super kick people in the face, and they want to see me drop the elbow and win.
Right. Well, we obviously want to see you guys get a shot at the title. But beyond that, I'm interested to know, with your background in broadcasting, like, when wrestling's all said and done, do you have any plans on being involved in the broadcast side of the sport, or just broadcast in general? Or have you even thought of that? Or are you just so kind of enjoying the moment that you haven't really considered, post wrestling career?
I don't think about it a lot, but it's something I still want to do. I've been in talks with Anthony and just kind of putting feelers out there to do a radio show currently as part of the Acclaimed. And after wrestling, yeah, I actually, funny story, I only started wrestling training because I wanted to be a commentator and I didn't know how else to get into wrestling. And a few months in, my trainer goes, "Oh, you're too good to just be a commentator." And so ever since then, I said, "Oh, okay, so I won't be doing that." But after wrestling, sure, I would love to. I really do have a love for broadcasting, especially sports broadcasting, and so I to be a part of the sport for the rest of my life or after my career, that would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I definitely want to thank you for joining us, Max. We're not going to keep you much longer. We appreciate your time here with us. I just wanted to say that real quick. I'm going to turn it over to Josh. I'll let him ask you a last question, and then we'll let you get out of here.
Yeah. So I know that, like, the tag team titles are obviously the goal for you and Anthony, and I would love to see you guys win the tag team titles. I think you would be amazing as the champs. But is there, like, another big match that, like, either you personally want to be part of or that you want the Acclaim to be a part of?
Wow, that's a really good question. There's a lot of great teams in AEW. For me as a singles wrestler, I would love to wrestle MJF. We're very, very close, and
I would love that.
And I think everybody just wants to hear what I would say about him on the microphone. Everyone hates him so much. I don't think I could go wrong there.
No, you couldn't.
No, not at all. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would love to roast him. He would be so angry. And
that would make
then
it so much better.
Yeah. But as a tag team, aside from the titles, I would love to wrestle the Briscoe brothers. I would love to wrestle the American Wolves. Those are two teams outside of AEW that, me and Anthony are doing some independent shows. If any team or if any company sees this and wants to book one of those matches, that would be great. And I would love that. Because frankly, I think those two teams would give us a huge test physically and mentally in the ring. A lot of wrestlers now kind of wrestle the same and they try to impress fans, but those two teams, they just wrestle to beat people up, and we don't face that a lot in AEW. And I would love to be put in that situation, because once I am, then I know how it is, and then I can bring it back to AEW and beat up some teams.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess we're gonna let you get out of here pretty soon. We appreciate you being here one more time. And so any picks for the Super Bowl or any sports picks in general? Do you like anybody in the NBA championship? You know, we just want to see if we can get a pick from you for our show.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So the AFC title game is the Bengals and the Chiefs, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And the NFC title game is the Rams and the 49ers, right?
Correct.
You nailed it.
Okay, great. So I'm going with the Rams. The Rams look super, super impressive right now. The offense is clicking. The defense looked great against the Bucks up until the end, obviously. But, you know, Tom Brady will do what Tom Brady will do. So I'll say the Rams and the Chiefs. You can't go wrong with the Chiefs. Maybe it's a year too early for the Bengals. Maybe they need a little bit more seasoning. Right now, the Chiefs, I believe in them a lot more. In the Super Bowl, gosh, out of those two teams, that's so hard to pick. But you know what? Let me go with the Rams this year.
Oh, I love it, man. Good.
Love it.
That's an awesome pick. Hey, we want to thank you one more time for being here and want to let you know in Cleveland, we've got a really good self-deprecating sense of humor. So if you have any lines planned, any shots you plan on taking at Cleveland tonight, I just want to let you know, let those things fly, man. We really love that. We have a good sense of humor.
Well, what do you think I should say?
Oh, let's see here.
Ooh, okay.
Our big thing is at least we're not Detroit. So if there's a way you could tie in, like, you know, Cleveland, you guys aren't great, but at least you're not Detroit or something like that. Like people would really get a kick out of that.
That's funny. Okay. Yeah, I'll try and work that in.
Hey, thank you so much for jumping through hoops to join us here today. We're sorry about the technical issues. Have a great time tonight, man. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody who has a chance, if you're watching the show, get yourself tickets to go check out Max Caster and the rest of the boys at AEW. Either tonight or if you can go this weekend, go. I'm telling you guys, whether you're a fan or not, it's electrifying. It's so much fun. It's a great value. Definitely go check it out. Yeah, guys, if you got any last thoughts,
I want to give a shout out to this guy down here. He does an amazing job editing our videos.
Appreciate that, man.
So,
shout out to Jason. He's the one that makes the machine work, the behind the scenes machine.
Yeah.
Jason, he's down there pulling the levers, and he knows what he's doing because Josh and I aren't so great at that.
Appreciate that, man. We all won, man. So
Brian and I try to help, but Jason's like, nah, I got it, dude. Nah, I got it.
That's going to be it from us for today. Make sure you tune in next week. Like and subscribe. You'll get the notification when we're going live again.
Yep.
Go Cavs.
And yes, go Cavs. Beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's go.
We'll end on that. Beat the Bucks. Let's go Cavs.
Thanks for watching, guys.